All right, so 3.7, you're going to take a formative assessment, or we are taking a formative assessment on today if you're not there to prepare for Friday. But before we do that, we did review a few general concepts. Either way, if we're looking at something here, if you're still having issues, make sure you contact your teacher as soon as possible. And just remember, when you're solving, you're thinking backwards. So you should be considering the opposite of what you see. So if you see two numbers, or if you see something that is being added or a positive number that's being combined, we of course should be thinking subtract. If you see a number that is negative and being combined, or subtracting, whatever that is, and you should be thinking the opposite of subtract, which is add. If you see two numbers connected that are being multiplied, or two things that are just being multiplied, anything like that, you should be thinking that you must divide. And if you see two numbers that are being divided, which means, again, it would be like a fraction, then you are going to think multiply. And as long as you understand that, you at least have the general idea for what you need. If you know those four answers, then you have what it takes to succeed in this chapter. So now let's just make sure we practice the process correctly. Again, remember that there will be easy problems. Just do your best to avoid skipping the work. The majority of this test is not meant to be negatives, positives, and decimals and all and big numbers. It's just meant to be you showing that you know what's going on. And you should have saw that in your quiz last week, where all you're doing is making sure you can prove to me that you recognize that this is x plus 5, and that we will first off just subtract 5 from both sides. X comes down, 8 minus 5 is 3. Again, this is not a tricky problem. None of those are tricky problems. All we're doing is just making sure you get it. 10 equals x minus 7. Again, basic level question. Recognize that x is over here with minus 7, so we put plus 7 on both sides. 10 plus 7 being 17 equals x, and that is all. For C, 6 equals 4 plus x. Well, in this case, again, x is over here with 4. So what you want to do is recognize that's a positive 4 and move it with a negative 4. 6 minus 4 being 2. Those going away. And again, bringing down your x on the proper side. D, negative 3 plus x equals 8. The value with x is negative 3. We know that this is combining, not multiplying, so therefore we use the opposite sign. That goes away. X comes down with 11. Again, notice, and these are what your first questions are going to be like, this is just 8 minus 5, which is 3. 10 plus 7, which is 17. 6 minus 4, which is 2. 8 plus 3, which is 11. There's nothing tricky about those, so just make sure when you see those easy ones that you don't do anything crazy. This is one of the big numbers, but we should be okay. We recognize that 7 is being multiplied, so we divide by 7. X comes down. 7 goes into 43, I think 6 times, making 42, which leaves me 1 short. 7 goes into 14 twice, giving us 62 as an answer. We then have 5 equals x divided by 8. Remember that that's x divided by 8, so we think multiplication. 8 times 5 is 40. 8's go away. X comes down, and that is all. So the only tricky ones that you would need to worry about for multiplication division is these where you have negatives. Just don't forget in this case that's negative 5 times x, so we divide by negative 5. Because you want to take the negative 5 off, that's actually what you're taking off. Second off, remember that whenever you have one negative in a division or multiplication problem, that it makes your answer negative. 5 goes into 28 5 times, which gets me up to 25. That would be 3 left over. 5 goes into 30 6 times, bringing down your x. And again, all that long division was stuff we've been working on for a couple weeks. If you're not understanding it, you need to talk to somebody so they can actually get you some help. X over 3 equals negative 6. Again, this is x divided by 3, so what we're going to do is multiply by 3. And as I said earlier, after these cancel out, if it's one negative in multiplication or division, it means your answer is negative. 6 times 3 is 18. There are other types of problems on this assessment, but again, that represents the main expectations. As long as you understand what number to move, and as long as you understand how to move it, you should be okay. Just make sure you understand you need to identify where the variable is first. I don't see many quizzes, at least in my class, where students are moving the wrong number. There are a couple, but again, I don't think that that's fixable because as much as we've gone over, I think they're just not listening. And if that is you, then make sure, again, you talk to somebody. But once you identify where the variable is, it's pretty easy to see what you have to move. Just remember to take your time, treat this like a quiz, treat the formative assessment if you take it like a quiz so you can identify any issues, and then, let's see what happens. Good news about a test is if you've prepared, you're going to probably do okay, and if you haven't prepared, there's really nothing to worry about anyway. outside of that, just again ask for help if you need it, and talk to you later.